this is Roland Hartmann from graphicinmotion.com, and in this tutorial I will show you how to customize my 3D abstract titles pack After Effects template. So let's get started. First of all, let's take a look at the content of the template. After opening up the project file, you will see that we have this main folder here, and this main folder contains all the different designs, all the different title layouts that are included in this pack. We have 10 different 3D animations with different title designs. So you can choose whatever you want, whatever fits best for your project. These titles are really good for video projects or for websites like landing pages. So choose your design, and then let's take a look how you can customize this template. So let's say, for example, you like this one here. So to customize it, the best is to use the Essential Graphics controls. And to do that, you just select the master composition here. In the project panel, right-click and choose Open in Essential Graphics. This will open up your Essential Graphics panel. Here you have all the controls that you need to customize this title. First of all, you see we have 5 different title layouts, and you can switch between these with these buttons here. So just turn off one and turn on the second one. Make sure that not 2 or 3 are activated at the same time, because this will create a little bit of a mess. So here you can switch between all of the different layouts, and you always have title number 5, which contains a logo placeholder. So in my case, let's say we want to use title number 4. The next step is that you can change the color. So here you find the color tab. If you open this up, you see we have a hue transform here. And if I change this, you see that I can change the overall color of the 3D render. By the way, these 3D elements are pre-rendered and they are in a very high ProRes format. So they are included in the download. Then you can change the lightness and the saturation. So for example, if you want to have less saturation, you can put in a minus value. For more, of course, you can put in a positive value. The same applies for lightness. With lightness, you have to be a little bit careful. Don't go too crazy here, because otherwise this may create some artifacts. Then you can, of course, customize your titles. And to customize the titles, you can either use the controls that are here in the Essential Graphics, or you can also do that directly in the composition. I will show you at first the Essential Graphics controls, and then we will take a look how to do it directly in the composition. Of course, you can also create your own layouts. But if you want to use one of the pre-made titles, first of all, we have to take a look that we have the right setup here. So in my case, I use title number 4, so I have to enter title setup number 4, and this is this one here. And the first control that we see here is a color control. This is an overall color control, and you can change the color of all of these titles that are visible here. As you can see, I will undo that. And then you have the option to access the titles here. And here you can really change all the texts. So to change the text, you just take a look at the main title 1, for example, that says 3D abstract right now. And if I want to add something in, your title, for example, all capitals, and click away, you will see that this will update. You can change the font style, the size, so you can make it smaller if you want, or you can make it bigger. This has a certain limit. So if we go too far here, for example, like 300, this will be cut off. And this is just because I do not want you to be able to destroy the layout that I created for these titles. If you want to create your completely own layout, we will get to that in a moment. So for now, I think the standard was 180 here. Actually, it was a little bit more. No, 180. The next option that you have is the tracking amount. So if we change the tracking amount to a positive value, like 20, you will see that the tracking increases. And of course, if you put in a negative value, it will get smaller. And you can also change the position in case you want to switch or shift the layout. So these are the controls that you have for each of these titles visible here. And one more hint, if the title is not fully revealed, as you can see here, then this just means that your time indicator is in the beginning of the composition when the animation is still happening. So make sure that your time indicator is far enough into the timeline so that everything is visible and everything is revealed. The next option that you have are the lines and the frames. And let me quickly close my titles, then we have a better overview. Here you see we have title number 4 setup, lines and frames. If I open this up, I have access to the controls of the lines and the frames. So here I can shift all of these lines. You see in this case we have two different lines, this line and this line. There are lines in each of these designs, so you can shift them. If you don't want them in your design, then you can just turn them off by changing the opacity to be 0. Then you will see that these lines here will just disappear. Let's undo that. If you want to change the line's position, then you have position sliders here. So with these, you can just simply drag them over and put them to a new position. Another option that you have for some of the lines, for example, this one that is an underline for a title, is that you change the scale. And in this case, you just have to use the X value. So for example, if you change this title and it's now smaller or bigger, larger, then you can just change the size of this line here. And of course, you also have an opacity slider for the frame. So if you do not want any frame in your design, then you can just turn it off by putting in 0. These controls that I showed you now are more or less the same for all of the titles. Of course, depending on the title layout, depending on the number of titles, they may be a little bit different, but actually it's more or less all the same. Let's take a look at title number 3 quickly. You see here we also have a color slider. Then we have a few more title controls here because we have a few more texts in here. And then of course we also have some lines here and frames where you can change the setting of this line and the frames. So this is it, how you can use this template with the Essential Graphics controls. If you want to directly dive into the composition, then you just choose the according composition. Now I have my title number 3 active, so I can choose, make sure that you are in the right composition here. This is the Cloth Landscape Master, and I'm in the right one, so double click to open it up, make sure. And then you see Cloth Landscape title number 3. If you open this up, now you have direct access to all of these titles, and you can do it whatever you want here. So if you do not want to use any of these titles that I created here, if you want to create your completely own layout, then just disable all of these and put in here whatever you want, like graphics, like text, even images, and everything will of course then also react to the 3D animation, like this distortion and this blur here. So you can create your own designs, or if you want, you can also just customize it directly in here. Here you have access to the positions, of course, of all of these elements. And if you want to change the content, then you just double click on these placeholders, and then you will see you have a text layer where you can put in your title, change the font, and do everything that you can do with text in After Effects. One little hint, if you want to create your own layout, of course, you will lose the animation. The animation is related to these text layers. So if you do not use these, then you have to set up your own animation. Now let me show you quickly how you can add your logo. So to add your logo, you have to switch to title number 5 in this case. And then we will just enter this composition. So we go to Cloth Landscape title number 5 and open it up. And here you will find a composition called logo. So if you open this up, you will see that here is a logo placeholder, and this is where you want to put your logo. So let's do that. I will just import my logo now and drag it on top of our placeholder. That did not work. So again, turn off my placeholder, and now we'll just scale it down because it's quite big. So something like that. And if I go back now, then you see my logo is here. And if I go back to the master composition, you will see it's now in here. And it's also, of course, interacting with the 3D render, with the 3D glass. This displacement is happening here on the logo as well. A final tip for this template. This template is motion graphics template ready. That means if you want, you can export these compositions to Premiere as a motion graphics template and reuse them there in your project. So everything is set up that you can use these controls directly in Premiere. To do that, you simply select the title that you want. You can either do that in this drop-down menu here. Here you have all the master compositions. Or you can, as I already showed you, just right-click, go to Open in Essential Graphics, and then you can customize it, and then you can export to Motion Graphics template to later on use it in Premiere. If you don't want to do this, if you don't want to work in After Effects, you can also buy this template already as Motion Graphics templates. There you have all of them already exported and ready to be directly imported to Premiere Pro and use them there. If you want to learn how to do this, I also have a tutorial on that, and I will put it now on the screen. Okay, so this is it for this tutorial. You see that it's very simple to use this template. You can create really amazing titles with it. I hope that you like it. If you have any questions, then please feel free to contact me. You can find a contact form or my email on my website, graphicinmotion.com. I thank you very much for using my template. Thank you very much for watching this, and until the next time, goodbye.